This week's episode of Tech News Day is sponsored by Capterra. But first, the tech news.
Now, for social platforms like Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and so on, one of the larger criticisms in recent years has been that the people running these websites don't actually know what the hell's going on with their own product. And whether that's a fair criticism or not, it gained some credence last week when Jack Dorsey, the CEO of Twitter.com, had his Twitter account hacked and defaced for 20 long minutes, during which his account, literally the account of the guy who runs the website, tweeted out all sorts of vile, racist, Hitler-praising content that at this point we've all come to expect from these sorts of incidents.
Yeah, so for once it would be nice if a hacker gaining access to a powerful and famous person's social media were to actually do something clever with it, but they just go for the kill immediately.
Yeah.
The racist shit, it's just so pedestrian. If you're gonna hack Jack's account, have him say something absurd but believable. You want people to be on board for the lie for a little bit, and be tricked.
Really sell it.
Maybe he announced that Twitter had been purchased by Disney and they'd be banning all furry accounts.
That'd be funny.
Yeah, that would be kind of cool. Tell a lie that's going to trigger the first ever FTC investigation into a fake corporate announcement made by a hacker. That would be something unique. Come on. Get
funding
creative with it.
secured. Come on.
Yeah. Or, I mean, I don't know. I actually use your account access to look at Jack's DMs and leak some scandalous shit onto the timeline. Now, we're not condoning any of this or hacking at all. It just seems like whenever this happens, it's kind of a wasted opportunity because people just go, oh, they're hacked.
Yeah, obvious. Anyways, to further demonstrate Twitter's lack of control over its own platform, while Twitter's co-founder and CEO was locked out of his account for 20 minutes, one of the tweets from his account linked to a Discord server run by Chuckling Squad, the people behind the hack, and almost immediately, Discord shut down that chat server. No problem. Meanwhile, Jack's account, on his own fucking website, continued tweeting out slurs, plus a bomb threat, for good measure. And now, this is not the first time that Jack's been hacked. Back in 2016, the group OurMine got into the social accounts of a bunch of big Silicon Valley figures, including Jack. But they mostly just posted stuff like, OurMine here, we're just testing out your security, haha.
Yeah.
It's unclear how OurMine was able to do all that, but the method behind this latest hack by Chuckling Squad was SIM swapping, something I'm not sure we've ever really covered here before, but it is terrifying.
Yeah, so you're surely aware that you should be using some form of two-factor authentication for your important online accounts. The old school method of getting into accounts that you don't remember the passwords to, where you have to use the site to send a password to your email address, then click that or whatever, it's not safe either, so don't do that. If someone already has access to your email account, they can very easily gain access to any of your other accounts which use the same email address. With two-factor authentication, this problem is solved by essentially turning your personal mobile phone into a password. If you try to log into a website from a device that the website doesn't recognize, even if your password is correct, it'll double-check that it's really you by sending an authentication code to your phone, either via text message or an authenticator app.
Yeah, and this is generally good enough to protect you, but there is a way for hackers to get around it, and it's called SIM hacking, or SIM swapping, or whatever you want to say. The phone SIM card is what gives your phone its unique phone number, so SIM hackers, they first figure out what your phone number is, which is not that difficult. Then they figure out which mobile carrier you have, which is also not that difficult. Then they either call up your phone company, pretending to be you, asking to transfer your phone number to a new SIM card, or they skip the social engineering part entirely and just pay a morally unscrupulous mobile carrier employee to do it. And apparently AT&T is especially bad at letting this happen.
Anyways, they've now, transferred your phone number to their device. So if you've got SMS two-factor authentication set up, they can receive your SMS authentication code and get into your account. Because of this vulnerability, nowadays it's highly recommended that you do not use SMS two-factor and instead use a third-party authentication app, which is not vulnerable to SIM swapping. So you'd think the CEO of Twitter would know this, right? Why would Jack still be using SMS two-factor? I don't know. But now, maybe it'll be a step forward in Twitter security.
Well, thing is, Jack did know this.
Oh.
And his account was hacked via a combination of SIM swapping plus a little-known, very old feature built into Twitter that no one ever uses anymore, but it allows you to post tweets via text message.
The original point of Twitter.
Yes, this is true.
Yeah.
But I don't think anyone's used this feature in years. Anyway, with a SIM swap, a hacker would not be able to log into the Twitter app as Jack because of the authentication. But since Jack's phone number was still tied to his account, and because SMS tweeting is something that you have to opt out of, the hackers simply texted those racial slurs onto Jack's timeline without even having to log into Twitter at all.
Wow.
So on the one hand, in hindsight, this was clearly a huge vulnerability in Twitter's user security, but hindsight's always 20/20, and this was actually very clever. Much more clever than any of the actual tweets that the hackers posted.
Yes.
But clever.
But yeah, moral of the story, you should probably be using an authenticator app for all your login needs, but also, you know, that might not be enough. So I don't know. The hackers, they'll always find a way. They're always exploiting new loopholes and stuff. So it's just going to be a game of cat and mouse forever and ever and ever.
And you're the mouse.
And when people like Jack get hacked, then maybe they'll look at their securities team at Twitter and say, hey, we should probably do something about this. And then things will change.
I'm going to go over to Myanmar and just like chill out. When I get back, I want this fixed.
I'm going to meditate on this.
Yeah.
And then we'll see what happens. Anyways, let's move on to another hacking story that's pretty unsettling and probably something that we're going to be seeing a lot more of. According to a story last week in the Wall Street Journal, the CEO of a UK energy firm got a call from his parent company's boss over in Germany telling him he had to go ahead and transfer 220,000 euros to a supplier over in Hungary, which he did. Except it turns out that despite it clearly being his boss's voice on the phone, it was not his boss.
Yeah, and this is a hack in the traditional sense, the social engineering sense. That's where hacking really happens. And yeah, this was someone using essentially the audio version of a deepfake to scam this company out of their money, and it worked. We've seen various demonstrations of this kind of tech in recent years using voice samples of people like Barack Obama, Jordan Peele, Joe Rogan, and so on to generate entirely new words and sentences that sound realistic enough to fool someone who doesn't know to look out for this.
Especially over the phone, where even in today's amazing technological advancements, it still kind of sounds like shit sometimes and cuts in and out or has echoes or whatever.
Yeah.
So,
and this is only going to get worse.
Because the tech will get better.
Yes. Now, currently a person needs to have a decent amount of recorded speech out there to sample from, but that is surely going to become less and less of a problem. If you've ever recorded and posted a short clip of yourself talking onto the internet, that's probably going to be more than enough to impersonate you in the near future. And as for us, we are completely fucked. I mean, there's already enough audio content of the two of us in this episode alone to cause all sorts of trouble for us.
Don't do it.
For the rest of our lives.
Yeah.
And that's just something we have to accept because the future is terrible and I hate it.
Anyways, let's move on to some porno news.
You've been demonetized.
Come on, Susan. Really?
What the fuck?
Really? We're just talking about news related to pornography.
They're not going to show it.
Demonetized again. Well, anyways, as you know, our use of single-use plastics has made the world filthy, especially our oceans. And last week, Pornhub announced that they're stepping up and doing their part to clean things up a bit. See, Susan?
Yeah.
It's a good story.
You've been demonetized.
This is Pornhub, though. Their methods, they're a bit unusual and very not safe for work. So this whole initiative, it's called The Dirtiest Porn Ever. And it's a video featuring a young couple having hardcore, full penetration sex on an absolutely filthy beach while a cleanup crew in hazmat suits removes trash from around them. It's, in itself, art.
It's art.
But also, for every full view that the video gets, learn how to edge. Pornhub says that they'll make a donation to the charity Ocean Polymers, who are developing a sea vessel that collects and recycles plastic waste in the ocean.
Nice.
You just pause for a little bit, let things die down, watch. This is the first time, you know what Pornhub, this is a great thing for Pornhub because they're teaching a whole new generation to appreciate the art of pornography filmmaking.
Yeah.
And they're not just sending these people to watch cum compilations or whatever else. You have to watch the plot.
Don't finish early or the ocean dies.
Yeah. The ejaculation is much more fulfilling when you've watched the entire thing, plot and all.
Yeah. You know
how else are you supposed to connect to the characters?
You know what feels even better than coming? Saving the Earth.
Yeah. And you can do both.
Now, it's unclear how much they'll be donating for each view. I'd imagine not a lot. But you can now polish your knob guilt-free, knowing that you're making a small contribution to cleaning up our oceans. And this is actually just the latest charitable stunt from Pornhub, with previous examples including Bisexual, dedicated to saving the bees, Panda Style for panda conservation, and Old School, a sex ed video series for old people living in retirement communities.
Riddled with STDs.
Yeah, they've made a bunch of these, and good for them. But speaking of porn companies doing good, the production company Bang Bros recently did a very nice thing.
See, Susan?
Yeah, they did a nice thing that you wouldn't expect from a company named Bang Bros. They purchased the website Porn WikiLeaks, which was a site dedicated to doxing personal information about adult performers, and then they set all the website's server hard drives on fire.
Well, it can't be good for the air.
Well, that's true. Shit.
Well.
But yeah, the site was reportedly making life hell for a lot of adult performers by facilitating harassment of them and their family members. But the landing page for Porn WikiLeaks now is just simply a statement by Bang Bros about why they bought and literally destroyed this website.
And hey, while we're on the topic of porn, North Carolina newspaper The News and Observer this week took a break from reporting on Hurricane Dorian to tell the story of a local man who claims his dog ordered a bunch of TV porn.
A likely story.
Bad dog. It's a nice spin on the dog ate my homework, and I appreciate it.
Dog bought my porno.
Thomas Barnes says that his dog, Marino, jumped onto the bed last month and landed on the TV remote somehow, some way, ordering the Hustler channel via pay-per-view. Barnes says that once he noticed that it had happened, he called DirecTV to let them know about this mistake. Sir, the channel was just purchased 10 minutes ago. Are you sure you didn't ejaculate and start regretting your purchase?
If there was even one successful stroke in those 10 minutes, I'm sorry, you bought it.
That's it. We're gonna hack your Alexa and make sure you weren't moaning over the past 10 minutes or not. Anyways, that they assured him that the mistake would be corrected.
It happens, sir.
But
wink, wink.
They actually didn't correct the mistake. Whoops. The Hustler subscription, it remained activated even after more calls to DirecTV, calls that anyone would be slightly embarrassed to make.
I hate that I have to keep explaining this.
Especially when you've already had the conversation with like maybe 2 or 3 reps,
Yeah.
and then so you solidify, you make the conversation shorter to just give them the TLDR. But you're like, listen, okay, I've been through this a bunch.
My dog ordered a porno. I want it out of here.
That's all. I don't want to go into any more detail. I've
keep
already been
telling
through
you.
enough. Anyways, when Barnes received his monthly bill, he subtracted the $70 Hustler fee and paid the rest. But this just resulted in his TV service being turned off entirely. It wasn't until Barnes filed a formal complaint with the FCC that he received a call from DirecTV about making things right. And you know what? Keep the channel. that would have been the perfect cherry on top.
You know what?
We don't want to know. It's fine. Everybody does it. Why don't you just keep the channel on us? Moral of the story, though, the next time you get caught with porn, blaming your dog is a real tactic that you could use.
Step 1, blame the dog. If that doesn't work, step 2, say, well, actually, I'm cleaning up the oceans.
Yes.
So what have you done with your life?
Exactly. Oh.
Anyways, okay, that's a good gap.
Between porno and this.
Yeah.
Cool.
Time for an ad break.
Yeah.
This episode is sponsored by Capterra. Tied down at work? Don't let your software search kill those summer vibes.
Well.
Now you can ditch the office overtime and find software options for your business in minutes with Capterra. Read thousands of real software reviews and make finding the right software for your business a breeze at capterra.com/newsday.
Capterra is the leading free online resource to help you find the best software solution for your business. With over 950,000 reviews of products from real software users, discover everything you need to make an informed decision. Search more than 700 specific categories of software, everything from project management to email marketing to yoga studio management software. No matter what kind of software your business needs, Capterra makes it easy to discover the right solution and fast.
Join the millions of people who use Capterra each month to find the right tools for their business. Visit capterra.com/newsday for free today to find the tools to make an informed software decision for your business. Capterra.com/newsday. That's CAPTERRA, Capterra. Software selection simplified.
Anyways, let's get back to the news now because Hurricane Dorian has absolutely fucked up the Bahamas.
Yeah, it's very sad.
Luckily for the people of Florida, it's no longer expected to make landfall there. But before that was the case, the city of Miami was preparing for the worst and was wisely factoring in the fact that unlike previous hurricanes, this one had the added risk of causing a scooter-nado. And this is something that I didn't even fucking think about.
Yeah.
And then I was just like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
that makes perfect sense. And I
Terrifying.
love this story even though it is terrifying. But at least it wasn't a reactionary story.
Yeah, at least
They
it
got out
was
and
like,
had a-
oh yeah, a bunch of people fucking got their heads cut off by tornadoes flying around at 500 miles an hour.
It's scooters
Or scooters flying around in a tornado.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we got to give the city credit here.
Yeah, they were really thinking ahead.
Obviously,
Someone had a big light bulb moment like, oh my God.
we got to do something now. So yes, e-scooters, they're everywhere now. And they've been in Miami for about a half a year. And with all those scooters out there on the streets, a Cat 5 hurricane had the potential to do a lot more damage with those scooters as ammunition.
Yeah, they're just bullets, basically.
Very, very heavy projectiles that can be easily picked up and thrown through the air.
Yeah.
So last Thursday, Miami announced that ahead of the hurricane, they'd be immediately removing all scooters from the city's streets to avoid this scooter-nado. And the various scooter companies, they were obviously happy to assist.
Yeah, they don't want their brand name tied to like horrific injuries and deaths.
Yeah.
So.
Also,
Yeah.
I'm sure the people at these companies were like, oh yeah, good idea.
Oh my God.
Thank you, City of Miami.
Yeah.
We will definitely help. Anyways, now with the crisis averted, we're actually quite curious what a scooter-nado would look like. But I guess we'll never know now because luckily someone had the foresight to know that this would be a terrible problem.
Obviously, I don't want anyone to die in a scooter-related hurricane accident. But now that you can't just like explain the concept of a scooter NATO to me and then immediately say, we're gonna make sure this never happens. Like I want to at least see what would that look like.
On an empty street with no pedestrians
in a controlled
around.
situation.
Exactly.
Anyway, speaking of scooters, some new research published in the journal Trauma, Surgery, and Acute Care Open has examined hospital records of scooter injuries in California and determined that, in addition to lack of helmets, the main cause behind a lot of these injuries was that the riders were fucked up.
Yeah.
According to the paper titled The Emerging Epidemic of E-Scooters.
Let them have the title. They don't get a lot of fun writing these medical journals.
Of the 80 patients they looked at who were tested for alcohol, just under half had a blood alcohol content over the legal limit for driving. Similarly, out of the 65 patients who had their urine screened at the hospital, half of those people tested positive for mind-altering substances. Mostly THC, but also a few instances of meth and cocaine. The sample sizes here are very small, but the takeaway seems reasonable. Don't go riding scooters if you're drunk or high. Also, wear a helmet. Although, who the hell is going to go around all day carrying a helmet just in case they happen to rent an e-scooter? Like, it's just not going to happen.
I mean, it's obviously it's dangerous to do anything at a certain speed without a helmet, but it's also incredibly inconvenient to carry around a helmet all the time.
Yeah.
So, you really risk the reward versus the risk.
I mean, if you ride a hog,
Yeah.
Then you carry around that giant helmet, but it's like a status symbol. Like you come into the restaurant, you pop down your big old helmet. You're like, yeah, I came here on a fucking hog.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I did. But yeah, your safest bet is just don't ride e-scooters. Case closed. I mean, they can be convenient.
They are very convenient.
Yeah, a lot of people have gotten real fucked up on these things.
Yeah, especially if it's a really busy city, on busy city streets and stuff.
Yeah.
Now, in some good but absurdly long overdue news, some of Hollywood's top filmmakers decided they'd finally had enough, and they have teamed up with a group responsible for the Ultra HD certification for TVs to come up with a solution for their movies looking like dog shit on so many of these TVs. We're, of course, talking about the motion smoothing thing. There's various other names that exist to explain this, but it makes cinematic content look like soap operas. It basically looks
horrible.
It ups the frame rate and just, ugh. It's basically the mode that your parents probably have turned on whenever you visit, either if it was on by default or because they genuinely think it makes the content look better.
Because they're blind.
To be fair, it does make some content look better, just not movies. Unfortunately, actually finding the specific setting and turning it off can be a huge pain in the ass for some customers, and they just let it ride.
Whatever, looks fine.
It's the first thing I did when I bought a TV like 2 years ago.
It's horrible. Well, now the UHD Alliance, which is made up of various TV manufacturers and film studios, they have come up with a dedicated filmmaker mode for TVs that will ensure that movies actually look the way they're supposed to look when you watch them at home. It gets rid of motion smoothing, noise reduction, and overscan. It ensures that the aspect ratio is displayed correctly, and it sets the color temperature to the widely recognized D65 standard. And it sounds like in addition to the big TV manufacturers adding filmmaker mode as a dedicated button on the remote, it will also be triggered automatically by metadata in what you watch, so you won't have to go digging through any menus, hopefully. This, of course, is only coming to upcoming brand new TVs, but it is nice to know that one of the most annoying things about modern TVs, not the most annoying thing about modern TVs, has finally been dealt with.
The worst is when you go to watch a movie at a friend's house and it's like that.
What are you doing? How can you live like this?
Does anyone else see?
What are you talking about? It's fine.
And then you gotta stop the movie and try to figure out their TV and Google it and try to fix it. And then they're just gonna turn it back because they liked it the way they did.
Yeah. They're gonna call you the next day like, I was watching the NASCAR race and everything's all jittery now. I'm like, well, yeah, the mode looks good for that. Just go in the menu and turn it back on. I don't know where that is. You're banned from my house.
Yeah,
Fuck
exactly.
You.
Yeah, the first time I've noticed it, I had a friend with this is a long time ago when it first started popping up. We were watching a Blu-ray horror movie, and I was like, this looks like shit.
This is ruining the vibe.
I feel like I'm on set and I don't believe anything.
Yeah, it's weird. And the reasons why it feels that way are mostly psychological. It's mostly because we're just conditioned to treat circa 24 frames per second as cinematic.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't stand it.
It sucks.
I don't like it.
Glad they're doing something about it. Anyways, next up, remember how Samsung was ready to completely change the mobile phone game by bringing the first unfolding tablet thing into the world? They were going to be the first major company to do it, by God. But then they sent out the Galaxy Fold to people reviewing it, and they immediately started failing, as could
that
be
was great.
predicted.
I loved that.
It was fun. Now that was back in April, and once those review units started failing, they indefinitely delayed the Galaxy Fold's release so they could try and fix these problems. Well, it's September now. It's after Labor Day.
Yeah.
There is still no release date, and it looks like it actually might happen very soon, which would be
Okay.
good for the very small amount of people I think are interested in this.
I'm listening.
Samsung has once again started accepting pre-orders for the Fold, or rather pre-registrations, which is basically a pre-order for a pre-order.
Wow. Nerd.
Yeah. It's still expected to cost $2,000 though. So I guess it'll be interesting to see how well this actually catches on, even if it's still completely riddled with problems.
Or not.
I mean,
Like, even if they manage to do it perfectly, I just can't
I have no
see-
interest. Absolutely no interest in it. I like they're doing one that's like the old Razer flip phone, but it's a full screen.
Yeah, this one, the one they're talking about opens up into a square, and it'll be smaller.
Yeah.
But that's all predicated on this being successful.
Yeah, like
I
surely
don't know.
the tech will be used somewhere that is very convenient for people and used for a reason we can't even think of right now. So thank you, Samsung,
You know where I noticed...
and beta testers that pay $2,000 to try this thing out.
Yeah, you know where I noticed the like foldable LED screens being very successfully used recently was in Las Vegas slot machines.
Oh yeah,
They've all got just like crazy, I mean, they're not being bent, but
Yeah.
they are, rounded and shit.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. Wow.
Thanks, tech.
This fucking slot machine is like ultra HD and it's curved. And they probably made back the cost in like 3 hours off of someone's grandma.
exactly.
Great job, Vegas. Anyways, finally, we mentioned last week how Kentucky Fried Chicken, KFC, was trying out plant-based Beyond Meat fake chicken at one of their locations in Atlanta. And turns out people are really, really into the idea of one of America's biggest meat-based businesses offering a non-meat alternative. Lines for the one-day event reportedly wrapped around the restaurant with people lining up before it even opened, and they were completely sold out of Beyond chicken nuggets in just 5 hours. KFC says that the amount of meatless chicken sold in those 5 hours was equal to the amount of popcorn chicken typically sold in an entire week. So it's a lot.
Yeah.
And looking pretty likely that this is something KFC is going to roll out on a larger scale sometime soon. And it's a great indication, just in general, that a lot of people are ready to eat fake meat now that it tastes similar enough to the real thing.
Yeah, so that's cool. Danny Trejo just introduced Beyond Tacos to his menu at Trejo's Tacos.
Yeah.
That's local, but it's
at this point, it's like if it's a part of a dish that has like more than 3 ingredients,
you're not really gonna
you're
taste it.
not really gonna tell. Like there's still like obviously eating a really good steak
or a really good burger.
or yeah, but even like I don't know, I just think ground beef in general is very easy to fake.
Yeah.
Getting
Well-
into like really good cuts of beef, like that's might never be attainable, but how often are you eating a really good cut of steak? Ron Swanson. Come on.
All right, well, thank you for joining us for this episode of Tech News Day. Please check out our sponsors and our Patreon. We have some exclusive podcasts you can listen to by going to our Patreon page, and if you're already signed up, look at the posts. If you're not, $5 a month gets you access to everything, including all of our past podcasts, or you can become a YouTube member by clicking the join button below the video. Be sure to check out last week's episodes of Weekly Weird News and News Dump, and we will be back very soon for some more episodes.
Bye.
Bye.